You know the story of David and Goliath, right? It's the ultimate underdog victory. But what if I told you that hidden inside this ancient tale is a really practical, modern guide for facing the giants in your own life? So today, we're not just going to retell a story, we're going to deconstruct it to find a timeless framework for overcoming what feels like impossible odds.
So, let's just start right there. What is your giant? Seriously, think about it. It could be a huge project at work, a really tough conversation you've been putting off, or maybe just an overwhelming fear. Because this story, it's about way more than an ancient battle. It's about the giants we all face every day.
Okay, so to really get a handle on the solution, you've got to appreciate the sheer scale of the problem. Picture this. You've got two armies, the Israelites and the Philistines, staring each other down across a valley. They are completely stuck.
On one side, you have Goliath. And listen, this guy isn't just a soldier. He is a symbol of absolute, unbeatable force. We're talking about a 9-foot champion decked out in heavy armor. And on the other side, an entire army. And they're not just outmatched, they are completely paralyzed by his words, just frozen with fear.
And get this wasn't just a quick standoff. This fear, this paralysis, it went on for 40 days. Can you imagine that? Waking up every single morning to the exact same, seemingly impossible problem day after day.
And that right there, that gets to the heart of it all, the paralysis of fear. This isn't just some ancient army's problem, it is the default human response when we face our own giants. It's that little voice inside our heads that says, nope, you're not strong enough, not smart enough, you are not ready for this.
And every day, the problem basically restated its terms. This wasn't just a physical threat, it was psychological warfare. Goliath's daily challenge just reinforced this narrative over and over. You are weak and I am invincible.
And here's the bottom line from this whole setup. When the rules of the game seem impossible, the conventional response is to just not play at all. The fear didn't just make them hesitate, it led to complete and total inaction.
But into this scene of absolute paralysis walks the solution. And of course, it comes from the most unexpected person you could possibly imagine. It's that classic story, right? The outsider who sees what nobody else can.
Meet David. Now, let's be super clear. He is not a soldier. He's not trained for war. He's a young shepherd, the youngest brother, and his only job that day was to bring lunch to his older brothers. So his perspective is completely fresh, untainted by all the military groupthink and the collective fear.
And this is the absolute game changer. Where all the soldiers saw a physical threat to their lives, David saw a spiritual challenge. He completely reframed the problem. It wasn't about man versus giant anymore. For him, it was about a giant defying something much, much bigger than himself.
And just look at where his confidence comes from. It's not like he's comparing his biceps to Goliath's, right? No, it's rooted in his past, his real-world experience protecting his sheep from lions and bears. He's pulling his strength from a totally different place.
Okay, this brings us to the most practical, actionable part of the whole story, how you choose your weapons. It's not about finding the biggest, baddest sword, it's about finding the right tool for you. So check this out, because it's basically a 3-step strategy we can all use. First, you assess the conventional tools. David gets offered the king's own armor, the best of the best. Second, and this is so important, you reject what doesn't fit. He tries it on and realizes, I can't even move in this stuff. It would be a liability for him. So finally, he chooses his unique strengths. He picks up his simple sling and a few stones, the tools he spent years, probably his whole life, mastering. And of course, the giant just laughs. You can just picture it. Goliath sees David's tools and thinks it's a joke, because he can only see the world through his own rules. Brute strength, heavy armor. He completely underestimates the power of doing things differently.
But David's comeback? Wow. He's not just talking smack. He's very clearly saying, I am not playing your game. He is changing the entire battlefield from a contest of physical strengths to a contest of faith and precision.
And in the end, the climax isn't some long, drawn-out battle. It's quick, it's precise, and it is shockingly efficient. And that moment, that brilliantly illustrates the core lesson here. The right tool, used with expertise, is infinitely more powerful than just raw brute force. Agility and precision can beat size and strength every time. So, what do we take away from all this? How do we turn this ancient story into a practical guide for the giants we face in our jobs, in our relationships, and in our own personal growth? Well, it really boils down to a few key ideas. First, courage is not about not being afraid. It's about acting anyway. Second, your unique, maybe even underestimated skills, your sling and stones, those are your most powerful weapons. And third, you have to change the rules of the game. Don't just try to win a fight that's been rigged against you from the start.
You see, at the end of the day, what this story is really telling us is that the victory isn't decided by the physical contest out in the open. The real battle is won internally. First, with a shift in your perspective, a deep trust in your true strengths, and that simple but profound choice to just act.
And that leaves us with a very modern challenge. This incredible story isn't just something to admire. It's really a question being asked to each and every one of us. You have your own unique tools. You have your own stones that you've gathered through all your experiences. The only question left is, what giant will you choose to face?